50th anniversary of several World War II events. The attack on Pearl Harbor, the Doolittle raid on Tokyo, the women Air Force service pilots who trained and flew in Sweetwater. And tonight, an Abilene man who is one of two Japanese Americans held prisoner of war in the 1940s.
For tonight's top story, KTAB's Annabelle Smallwood is in studio after doing a great deal of research on this connection to World War II and the unusual way the journey began for her. Annabelle?
That's right. We have been giving you updates on Abilene Heritage Square, which was the old Abilene High School building. During the process of renovation, you could expect graffiti or different things that could be found from high school students. But something else was found on the roof of the building. There was a name written in the cement of the roof. This name right here, Foo Fujita, an Abilene High School student who graduated in 1938. We wanted to know more about this student, and it turns out his history has influenced the lives of many people, some even deeming him as an Abilene hero.
They weren't sure that there would be
Charles Foster and Jay Moore are two Abilene men who have something in common. They both believe that an old Abilene high school student became a hero.
I would label him a hero in my book.
I'll just say it, he's not here to stop me. He was a hero.
When most people think about what it means to be a hero, getting captured is not the first thing that comes to mind.
They treated him terrible. They, forced to labor 18 hours a day sometimes.
So what makes these men view someone who is captured by the Japanese as a hero?
He voluntarily enlisted in the Texas National Guard and went and served his country and paid the price for that.
In 1942, Frank Fujita and his fellow soldiers were captured by the Japanese in the South Pacific while he was serving as a National Guard in World War II. But Jay Moore, an Abilene historian, says that before he served in the National Guard, he was a student at Abilene High School.
His first passion really was art.
He joined the Texas National Guard shortly after graduating from high school in 1938. 4 years later, he was forced to work for Japan as a prisoner of war, and he was one of the two Japanese Americans held as a prisoner of war.
It was unthinkable that a person with a Japanese bloodline would take up arms against Japan.
And friends and family were worried about him, including Charles Foster's family.
And his mother.
Specifically, his uncle.
We had limited contact, but I really thought highly of him.
In 1945, Fujita was finally liberated by American soldiers.
He was so excited to be liberated, he actually, fully clothed, jumped into Sugami Bay to swim out to the ship that was coming to liberate them, nearly drowned.
And when he got home, Foster says that his family was relieved to see Fujita.
He was just thrilled to be alive.
They found out that Fujita's high school passion for art helped him during this time, and he started drawing to document what was happening around him.
So his drawings of the surroundings and what was going on in the prisoner of war camp.
Dennison Bruno was friends with Fujita, and after Fujita passed away, Bruno married Fujita's wife, Ruby. Bruno says that after Fujita would draw these pictures, Fujita
hid it in the walls of this building that he was being held a prisoner in,
to hide them from the Japanese. Fujita brought back these drawings, and now they are located at the Discovery Center on Butternut Street. He was known as a hero for enduring the hardship that he went through because of his ethnicity.
The fact that he survived the treatment of the Japanese is amazing.
All to protect the country that he loves. Fu passed away in 1996, but his story is being told through a simple carving on the roof of the old Abilene High School building.
He is a genuine American hero.
In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Annabelle Smallwood, KTAB News.
Thank you, Annabelle. So along with the art that he drew in the concentration camp, Fujita also kept a secret diary. And from these side notes, a book was written and released in 1991 telling the story of being captured, held, and liberated by American soldiers in 1945. But it all starts with his parents and leads in the years up to the war. An interesting picture of those days, which most of us don't even remember.
No, I've just read a little bit of it, and it's just fascinating.
All right, pick up a copy and get to reading on it.
Yes, yeah, great history.